The setup for almost all viral videos really isn't too complex, but the way we do things for dropshipping is where I'll be really going into depth. So as you may know, the video always starts with your hook, then comes the meat of your video where you will give value or give a demonstration of whatever you're trying to show or tell. Then you close it out with your call to action or CTA, hoping to lead the viewer to do whatever the goal of the video is. So let's dive into the hook and why it's debatably the most important part of your video. Forget everything else about the video, because if you can't hook them into your video, they won't even get to see whatever else you have. And there is truly no time to waste here based on how fast people scroll on these platforms. You need to be able to break this pattern and do show or say something that hooks them in and catches them off guard. The way I look at a hook is in two forms: your visual hook and your auditorial hook. And it's best to do these two at the same time. You want to attract the viewer in by what you are showing and what you're saying. And this can be heavily carried by the product you have, as Dom talked about having a visually appealing product. The example he gave was the LED curtains, which is just one of those products you can hook people in simply just by showing how cool it is. But not every product has to be like this, and if it naturally looks boring, you can instead have that same effect from your words or the text on your video. So generally, for any product, you want to show its best features or uses in the first 2 to 5 seconds, while also in those 2 to 5 seconds, be bold and say something that might catch them off guard. In one of my YouTube videos, I used a video of the folding duffel bag that I made as an example of this, because although it's just a boring looking duffel bag off first glance, I was able to hook people in really well based on what I said, which evidently worked on the views. So let me play the first 7 seconds for you. I saw online that big airline companies are trying to get rid of this bag because of how much money it is saving people like me and you, so I bought one and let's test it out. So what this first big claim of big airline companies trying to ban it did was relate to people in a sense, all while confusing them at the same time. Most people watching this video have flown with a big airline company before, and then stating that they're trying to get rid of this average looking bag made them curious, as this could be something that affects them. This caught most people's attention early on, but the next sentence is what was really powerful. About the reason behind them trying to ban it is because it saves people like me and you money. This one lights a fire inside people, and two puts me in their position as if it's us versus them. So claiming that a big airline company that most people know and trust is trying to get rid of something that saves us money is again not only confusing but triggering, and it's where these emotions came into play for this video. So to keep them further engaged and really lock them in for the video, I said I bought one and let's test it out together. At this point, they were officially hooked in mainly off my words, but I think another key part to it is that there was always something moving in the video. I could have just held the bag and said the same thing, but instead I was throwing a bunch of clothes on it, keeping something always moving so the brain is stimulated. You don't want any dead space in your hook or really in your video at all, so the person watching always has something they can look at going on. This hook is a perfect example of confusion and controversy leading the viewers to want to continue watching, but let's dive into a few others for different products. This product, which is a phone case that digitally puts a photo on the back of your case, has a video with 8 million views, but the hook is actually much simpler. And this one was actually carried by the comment, but more than anything really tapped into that confusion. So again, I'll play the first 7 seconds. Visually, they show a phone case that maybe looks a little odd with some random blank space in the back, but the comment saying, "I don't get how that works," immediately brings in that confusion and need for other people watching the video to understand how it works, to which they don't waste any time showing a photo and then showing it appear on the case. Visually, this is a really interesting product, so they didn't have to do any heavy lifting through a voiceover or text, and what worked well is they turned what people were confused about into a simple guide on how it works, showing off their product in an emotional way, showing a cute couple, which relates to a lot of people. Hooks can be very stimulating like the one I did, or very simple like this one, but in general, it all has to do with getting the viewer to want to see what happens next. Next, we have a very simple one, which if someone sent me this and I couldn't see how many views it got, I honestly would have been a little iffy about it, but what they did for this certain product does make sense. People first off love to see before and afters, and also saying something can make clouds in your room, which is just a lamp in their hand, is a little bit confusing itself. And if someone takes the time to read this, odds are they're gonna wait just a few more seconds to see what it actually does. And the views don't lie, as this now has over 9 million views, which is really crazy, as it looks like it only took them around 10 to 15 minutes to film, edit, and post it, which definitely led to thousands of dollars in orders. This style of before and after doesn't work for any product, but it can be very smart smart for things that turn boring into cool. So pretty much any LED or home accessory. Up next, we have a video of a lung trainer. Visually speaking, this product is very boring to look at and just looks like your average mouth guard. So how would you be able to hook someone in with this? Well, what this person did was use something that's visually appealing that's related to the product to use as the hook.
These are my lungs after 1 year of vaping, but I fixed them in 5 days.
Nasty looking fake lung with a claim that instills a lot of fear into people about how this is all from vaping. So he tells a problem people have and then introduces his product, saying he fixed this massive issue in just 5 days with it. Visually appealing hook, problem and solution shown through a bold claim, and tons of confusion on how that little thing could actually fix it. This was all done in 3 to 4 seconds and was more than enough to get people to stop scrolling, which led him to get 4 million views. And now this last hook example I have for you is very similar to the cloud lamp. Before and after done very well. This time less through the text and more through the sound, which is a build up to a transition. Saying they're just stickers while showing something that looks like a more unique sticker makes people want to see what it actually is, the before and after. On top of that, they used a very proven strategy of responding to hate and then proving through the video why that hate isn't justified, by of course showing that their product is actually good. All while using, like I said, a sound that rises up and people know it'll transition into something else. And this is again proven, getting them over 3 million views. And although all of these examples are very different, they all do the very important thing of getting people to keep watching and find out how or what happens next. On top of that, they all have some layer of confusion, which is the core to getting people to keep watching. Once you have a good hook, the rest of your video just flows naturally, as all you have to do is show a good demonstration of how it works and its cool features. In my bag video, I just went on to show how it folds up and can save you money. The phone case just showed how photos appear in different examples. The lamp showed how the room looks after. The lung trainer gave a 5-day recap on how his life improved using this. And the stickers showed how cool the room looked when the sun hits them. So create a hook and then form the rest of what you're about to show following your hook and answer that confusion they may have with your product. And then finally at the end of the video, you can just show them where to get it, tell them to comment something, share it with someone, or simply do whatever the goal behind the video is. As like I said, you don't always have to tell them that the link is in your bio to get it, because people on the platforms are used to it already being there. So it's really based on what you show in your video, as you don't want to shove it down their throats. You want them to make the choice to buy it themselves. There used to be a theory about how saying link in bio in your videos causes them to get suppressed, but I think over time that has really been proven wrong. The idea was that by saying link in bio, you are taking viewers off the app, which they of course don't want, but we can just look at the lung trainer video, which did get 4 million views and did say link in bio. But I now want to talk about the algorithm and why these things actually matter.